There have been many voices throughout the ages decrying the ills of consumer culture. Jesus, Buddha, Tyler Durden, the Minimalist podcast, people like that. I've always been, hello everyone. Today is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I have been living out of my van for about 3 months now, and I guess I wanted to share some of my thoughts and musings on the whole non-consumeristic lifestyle that I'm aspiring to achieve. As I said, on this Black Friday morning, I participated in a group bike ride with a friend of mine that was sort of billed as a protest against the consumeristic holiday, saying let's skip the deals and bike on two wheels, something to that effect. And I also posted on my own Instagram essentially an advertisement selling designs on my t-shirts in a TeePublic store that I just partnered with. All this to say, I feel very inconsistent and hypocritical about the whole non-consumer ideology that I've been a little bit pretentious and preachy about. Of course, this whole desire to shed myself of materialistic possessions is a big part of the reason that I ended up living out of a van. I wanted to not be tied down to many of the obligations of this world that are associated with having a house or an apartment. What am I getting at here? I guess I just wanted to opine and confess and admit that I really don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know if my whole quest to become a non-materialistic van lifer type person is as spiritually rewarding as I may have made it out to be. I suppose I'm wanting to de-romanticize the lifestyle a little bit. I, of course, had a huge tendency to sentimentalize and romanticize this nomadic lifestyle back when I was living a more domesticated life with my partner in an apartment. Now that I am out of that and out on my own, sleeping in a van at parks and residential areas and public lands night after night, I'm enjoying the freedom. It's been a mixed bag so far, and I also feel like I have a very long way to go in terms of being a fully non-materialistic person. I could show you the inside of my vehicle, but let's just say it's a far cry from the sleek, clean, beautiful, minimalist aesthetic that you might be picturing. I have bags of stuff strewn everywhere, held down by bungee cords, and there's always crumbs in the bed, which is kind of a cliche signifier of sad, lonely man syndrome. But at the same time, I'm doing it. I'm living that nomadic lifestyle. I'm laying my head in a different place every night. I'm driving around, sometimes aimlessly, seeking out coffee shops and libraries to work from, utilizing public restrooms and sinks, and powering stuff with the solar panel. And I'm showering at the gym, explaining to everybody why I live out of a van right now. Not feeling the pressure to work that much because I don't have to pay rent or a mortgage. All this to say, a lot of my desires and aspirations to not own a lot of stuff essentially stem from selfish desires. To me, the thought of owning a home with a yard and plumbing and HVAC and, you know, whatever. Who knows what goes on in houses in America these days. All that stuff seems incredibly tedious and overwhelming to me. I was a homeowner in South Dakota for about 1.5 years, and it was actually quite pleasant and peaceful. You know, we had just a handful of issues with like having to replace like the laundry machine, and we put a fence in the backyard for the dogs to run around in, and I actually at one point was employing a local neighborhood kid to mow the lawn for me, and that felt like sort of the ultimate domestic dad energy moment. All this to say, I feel like I had a taste of the good life. You know, I was a domestic husband. Not that it was like terrible or oppressive or anything, but this new phase of grubby, nomadic van life has been fascinating and rewarding in its own way. When people hear that I live out of a van, they say, "Oh, cool van life," and I always try to explain to them, you know, it might not be what you're picturing. It's a minivan. You know, I do have a bed in the back and solar panels and a little fridge, so I have some of the amenities, some of the creature comforts that I need to enjoy myself, but it's not as spacious and bougie as some of the van life content you might be used to consuming on Instagram. And some people will ask me, would you want to get a larger vehicle or a camper or something like that? I think where I'm at right now is I want to sort of continue down this path of becoming less consumeristic, owning less stuff. While I love Blondie, she has treated me well so far. I plan to continue to live out of her for, you know, just as long as I can. You know, hopefully she'll last several more years and we can go on many great adventures together. I don't currently plan to upgrade to a larger vehicle. If anything, I think it would be a cool experiment to see if I can downgrade to a smaller vehicle as I go, because I've already fallen into the habit, of course, of just accumulating more and more stuff, and I have all this like cookware and camping gear and all these redundant articles of clothing, and I still own quite a bit more stuff than anyone would need to for the type of lifestyle I've chosen to adopt. So I want to see if I can just continue to pare down my possessions and live off of just the essentials. You know, I think one advantage of having a relatively smaller vehicle in a minivan is it's easier to drive, it's more maneuverable, less suspicious for things like discreet parking if I'm choosing to park in a more urban area in a residential street or something like that. Oh, and another thing I should confess is, you know, for all of my preaching and musings about non-consumerism, I still like have some stuff stored at family members' houses. All this to say, I've got a long ways to go in terms of paring down my worldly possessions and not owning as many things. But I want to continue pushing on that. I strongly believe that this addiction that we have to buying stuff, owning stuff, consuming, it's something that clearly the corporations have become wise to, and they're very skilled at convincing us that we need to buy stuff to make us happy. And I realize this is a pretty basic, obvious take that like everyone kind of is aware of on a pretty obvious level, that yeah, stuff doesn't make you happy. Only love and human relationships and experiences and that kind of thing is more important than physical possessions could ever be. So again, I know this is like a super obvious and somewhat pretentious thing to be talking about, but I'm doing my best to put these cliches into practice. And perhaps by owning less, I can live more. You know what I mean? Just kind of living, laughing, and loving in this soccer mommy minivan. All right, I appreciate you listening to my ramblings on all of this. I plan to make more videos. I want to make more videos where I just like reflect on what it's like, you know, to live out of a van and stuff. Yeah, all right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.